talk about dreams and inspiration, we have to first separate the concept of dreams while we sleep and dreams that an individual has while awake. When we talk about dreams, we usually refer to the dreaming that occurs while we are sleeping, and that's mostly due to social norms. Since the word has a double meaning, although in a way they may refer to the same thing, it's necessary to distinguish the difference between these. The dreams we have while we sleep are common in all mammals and the majority of bird species. Scientists believe dreaming is a way to process information, much in the same way as a computer processes information. While a computer may do it in real time, we do it while we sleep. Sleep studies have stated that we only require sleep due to this process of information that occurs as we dream. The study of dreams has a peculiar name, it's called oneirology. Not to be mistaken with ornithology, it comes from the Greek word oneiron, which stands for dream. It is the study of the correlation between dreaming and current knowledge of how brains work in general. Circa 1952, a doctor by the name of Nathaniel Kleitman and his student Eugene Naserinsky discovered the phase sleep in which the brain was most active. This is the REM sleep phase. It stands for rapid eye movement. The term comes from how your eyes move inside your eyelids in a quick manner. The cause of this phenomenon is most likely due to dreams themselves, as if you were having successive visual experiences in a short amount of time. There are also various dreaming disorders, although they are quite difficult to quantify and categorize due to the ambiguous nature of dreaming. They may be related to psychological illnesses such as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which can be expressed in the shape of nightmares, aka a bad dream. Another disorder known as schizophrenia can lead to a nightmarish experience known as sleep paralysis, in which the dreaming subject perceives himself as being awake but cannot move, and is, like the name states, paralyzed. This condition may be common to people that don't suffer from schizophrenia, but most of the time it's seen as a symptom of the condition. We also call dreams to things we want to one day achieve or obtain. For some, a dream could be to become a billionaire, or it can also be something simple such as desiring to date a celebrity. Dreams come in many different shapes and forms, but it's possible to agree that dreams are what keep us pushing forward and allow us to look towards the future with a goal, thus giving humanity something we can yearn for, a thing that will get us excited and hopeful. We think about dreams as something intrinsic to our nature because they truly are what makes us human. A life without dreams is like a bird without wings. So as birds cannot fly without their wings, we too will never be able to live without dreams.
As previously developed, dreams do exert a significant influence in the human behavior, and considering all and every connotation to the word dream, the expected output of its influence could only be what is commonly known by inspiration. This is nothing new. History is dutifully filled with this productive correlation, and there is ultimately no telling how much is due to dreaming. As humans, we tend to ache for the continuous surplus, aspiring to break barriers as they come, however big or small, tangible or immaterial. Our restless nature is based on a premise of never-ending dreaming for something better or new, which ultimately compromises our posture in what would you call a normal life. This would mean that in a stranded quotidian, with the sole fulfillment of one's obligations and needs, the mere imposing of a thought about having, let's say, a nice day at the beach can and most certainly will disrupt the status quo in one's mind. There are, of course, more factors to this, but the more effective and sound the thought and the more conformist the status quo, the more likely a chain of thoughts is to happen which will bolster inspiration, and consequently a different and inevitable state of affairs will usurp the posture of a person. Quite rightly so. It is these small links that can rewrite whole behavioral patterns, even if unshattered throughout centuries, when fueled by such a triumphant desire that the posture itself may stand as the beacon to lead you to untried minds. Who better than Martin Luther King, the upheaval commander amidst the conformist segregationist nation that used to be the United States of America, who managed to win out a war commanding no armies or fleets but defeating and nurturing the dreams of millions. He had a dream, and even though there's still work to be done, nowadays societies embrace the black man, women, and child as people with as many rights as a white person enjoys. This was a prime example, and many more rest unsung. Inspiration knows no moralities, however, as brilliant strategical thoughts may rise and protrude from the vilest of minds, to empower the most heinous of causes. Who better than Adolf Hitler, the man who, when faced with the harshest of personal and patriotic realities, was led to grow an idea which would rally a depleted and downright inflated Germany to become a belligerent and fully sovereign superpower in a matter of 5 years. His Lebensraum expansionist doctrines led to the deaths of over 40 million people. Dreams do not sow when facing either good or evil. A dream can merely be too influential or secede itself in its earlier stages, and can never be underestimated. After all, a sunflower and a cactus both still grow on water. Thanks for watching.
So, what is inspiration? The Oxford Dictionary defines inspiration as the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially something creative. Commonly, we think of people being randomly struck by a flash of inspiration, so we see inspiration as a feeling that occurs almost by accident. However, as the start of that dictionary-defined state, inspiration is a process. We become mentally stimulated to do something, or in other words, inspired. For those who want to feel inspired, the key is to learn how to create an inspired state when we need to. There is no single set way to make every person feel inspired. That's because we are all different and are inspired by different things. You need to learn what works for you, and one of the best ways to do this is to think about what you were doing the last few times you felt inspired. Consider where you were and what you were doing. Look for any common factors and incorporate them the next time you need some inspirational ideas or answers. Here are just a tiny number of situations which can trigger creative inspiration. Some people find inspiration in books, music, when surrounded by nature, by just grabbing a pad and some coloring pencils and start toddling, through affirmations or positive self-talk, when doing some type of physical activity, for example running, or even by consuming smart drugs. Others might find all of the above work to a lesser or greater degree. Some people even become inspired to create when an internal or external deadline approaches. This one is really interesting because it shows how creative inspiration can indeed be self-driven, as well as being potential sources of inspiration. Each of the scenarios above has another thing in common. Can you guess what it is? They are all under our control. This is to say, we can decide to take any of the actions above when we want to feel inspired. We don't need to wait to be struck by inspiration. We can find the things that work best for us, then build a strategy to use them. So, when we ask ourselves what inspiration is, part of the answer is that inspiration is something under our own direct control. In opposition to that, something that we can't control, or at least most of the times, are dreams. As it was stated before, there are two different kinds of dreams, and both of them will influence us and our inspiration in distinctive ways.